First of all, welcome everybody who is here. My name is Katie Scott. I'm the Customer Success Enablement Manager here at OneDay. We really appreciate all of you being here today. I know that carving out an hour of your time, especially before what's probably going to be a holiday weekend for a lot of people, is not easy. So thank you so much for being here. We really do appreciate it. The end goal of this presentation, we've got a few different things for you. One, we want each of you to have a good understanding of the problem, this kind of big problem that we're trying to solve for, that automation is trying to solve for. We want you to learn and hear from an industry expert on how automation has helped them. And of course, understand what automation is and how it could fit into your team's sales process. A lot of you are already utilizing chat. Keep those coming. Let us know where you're coming from today. And if you've had any experience with automation, AI, chat GPT, whatever it might be, throw that into chat. We're more curious than anything, just what people's experience with automation has been so far. But regarding chat, if you have any questions during today's presentation, please don't hesitate to ask. Put those questions in there. Myself, as well as the rest of the presenters today, will be keeping an eye on that. So please put whatever questions you have in there. Before we go any further, I do want to introduce the wonderful group of people that is joining me on today's webinar. So first up, we've got, let me see if I can get this here. We've got Kimmy Rampanay. She is a product manager here at OneDay. She's actually going to be taking us through a demo of how automation works within OneDay. So Kimmy, thanks so much for being here today. Next up, we have Ryan Gray, our VP of Product and Marketing here at OneDay. And then our guest today, who's going to be sharing his experience with OneDay Automation, is Matt Owens. He is with Health Dimensions Group, and he is the Regional Director of Sales and Marketing. Matt has been in the world of senior living for about 16 years. He was first introduced to OneDay about 6 or 7 years ago. He has seen the benefits of using OneDay overall. And as I said, he's going to be sharing his team's story of implementing OneDay automation coming up later on during today's webinar. I'm going to check on chat here just really quick, make sure that everybody is settled and good to go. And yes, thank you, Ryan. We will send this out to everybody a little bit later on today. All right, well, our agenda. First things first, we're going to dive into this problem of scaling communication, or I should say not scaling communication so much, not being effective with how we're communicating with people, and really the solution that is automation. So we're going to dive into that right away, just to kind of set the stage for why we're here today. After that, we're going to go into that Q&A with Matt. He'll talk about some of the challenges that his team has faced with scaling communication, how OneDay Automation was introduced to them, and the success stories that he and his team are already having with OneDay Automation. After that, we're going to go into that demo portion. Kimmy's going to take us through how automation works from beginning to end, what it looks like within a OneDay account, and how those emails look once they actually go out and are delivered to people. And then finally, Ryan's going to wrap us up with a little bit more of why OneDay Automation specifically, and talk about some of our partnership integrations as well. Guys, anything I'm missing before we go any further? Okay, check on chat here one more time. Looks like we're good to go. All right, well, let's talk about the problem. Why are we here today? We're trying to solve the problem that is this. A lot of us are working harder, but not seeing the benefits. We're not scaling our communication in the most efficient way right now. Senior living and other related industries have a very high touch sales process. I don't have to tell any of you that. And so this problem of not scaling and doing almost everything manually, from sending emails to making phone calls, number one, it's affecting prospects because personal connections sometimes aren't being made because there's no time to create and send dozens of separate video emails each day. Yes, you could make some sort of evergreen generic video, but you still have to individually send that out to a bunch of people, taking time away from you. That prospect who is probably already feeling hesitant about a potential move, a big life change, isn't going to have a lot of reassurance trying to ease their concerns is going to be that much harder if they don't feel a connection and that a human element is behind the communication that they're receiving. If they don't hear from a sales counselor in a timely manner because that sales counselor is, again, just so overwhelmed with trying to manually follow up with people and maybe they forget about a prospect, well, that's obviously not good. It's affecting people in sales because they're getting so burnt out trying to make all these phone calls or send follow-up communication after somebody comes in for a tour or they make an inquiry, whatever it is, as they're moving through the sales process. There's a lot of manual work happening right now. That's the problem. And it's eating into the time that salespeople could be strategizing and nurturing their leads. It's a big problem. And I hope some of you are resonating with what I'm talking about right now. If you are, put that in chat, raise your hand and say, yes, that is my team right now. We are so tired of doing all this manual work, but not seeing the benefits. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, automation, it's going to lead to too many emails. Wrong information might be sent. It's replacing personalized videos. Those are common objections that we hear, and they're totally valid concerns. But I really want to drive this point home. Automation, it aims to increase efficiency while still delivering a personalized touch for the most common stages in a sales cycle. It is not a replacement, it's an enhancement. Okay, so we know what the problem is. Let's go into the solution, which we here at OneDay obviously believe is automation. But why? Well, number one, there's immediate engagement that's timely and ensures that interest is maintained and the process moves forward. It allows for communication that stays consistent so that prospects are hearing messaging that is always aligned. One of the most important things I believe that automation solves for is efficiency and scaling communication. Once it's set up, you can focus your time and energy on strategizing or creating those one-to-one communications for those situations that really need it. When you need to send out a video to somebody and address them specifically or talk about their situation, you're going to have time to do that. Going back to efficiency, automation also provides this very structured plan for following up with people, and it moves leads through the sales process automatically. And finally, automation, it teams up with the data of certain CRMs to make interactions with prospects relevant and very impactful. Okay, we know what the problem is, what the solution is. Let's turn it over now to Matt Owens to talk about his experience with all of this. It's, fine to hear from us here at OneDay, but it's going to be much more effective and impactful, I hope, for all of you to actually hear from somebody who's going through this process right now and using this feature. So, Matt, first of all, thank you so much for being here today. We really, really appreciate it. Before we go into talking about automation specifically, I want to backtrack a little bit and first talk about how was Health Dimensions Group doing prior to using video? What was going on? What was the company's story at that time?
Yep. So it was going okay. It was going well. We had all processes in place, and we were doing all that we could to have our teams build those personal connections and really work with our prospects as best as we can. But since we've implemented OneDay, obviously we've had that opportunity to strengthen those relationships and really help our teams utilize this tool to help strengthen relationships as we've built them and really gain better partnerships with our prospects and really see a significant increase in our conversion ratios. So it's been a really successful tool that we found.
Those conversion ratios, we're going to talk about more towards the end of this. Super excited to share those results with people. How was it first determined that video was going to be the best solution to help your organization hit its goals? How did that all come about?
Yep. So we wanted to find a way to as I said, build those personal connections. And it's hard to express all emotions, as through text, through email. And it's hard to really sometimes express your point without hearing that person, without hearing the tone of their voice. So being able to utilize additional senses, kind of in that process. I think especially during COVID, we all learned when, things were locked down and shut down and you couldn't have that personal face-to-face connection with somebody. We've really found, utilizing the OneDay tool and the video tool, helps kind of bridge that gap in between that process, and with our communities, we have a lot of people who are moving from out of state who are, helping, kind of make these transitions for a loved one who might not be in that area, who aren't coming in the tour. So being able to, have a virtual tour where we can speak directly to somebody without them being right there with you has been very powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll fast forward a few years. Your team used video, they saw the benefits of it. What came into play where you said we need to do something different?
So it just became, for us, what we were looking at is one implementation where, I think, a lot of our team members understood the power, but weren't always using it, right? So it was kind of getting that buy-in from our team as well. So when we were looking at it and we figured out, when we had started talking about this and this automation tool where, it's that one less step that comes off of someone's plate. In our teams, when we know we're being bombarded with, having to do all that we do every day in our process, anything that can help build that connection with somebody, where they don't have to take that additional time out of their day is huge. So I think when this opportunity came along for the automation, it was we started talking about it. My teams were excited because they can continue to build that relationship, without having to take that additional time out of their day. We're able to still strengthen these relationships and still build these relationships with our prospects and our referral sources and loved ones and decision makers, and be more strategic in their day and being able to plot their day out some more, and save some time and still build those relationships.
hmm So it sounds like there was a lot of buy-in once automation was first introduced. Were there ever any challenges from other people who were saying, this isn't going to be personal anymore? Did you have any initial thoughts on automation or, other leadership that was saying, we're just not sure about this? Where's the personalization? Are there going to be too many emails going out? Talk to me about that.
Yep. So my initial reaction when I hear that word automation, all I can think of are those horrible emails we get all the time, with the spam emails we're constantly getting, and we're getting bombarded with these just generic emails, and so that was kind of my initial hesitation. But then, as we dove into it a little bit more, and I learned more from OneDay and the team that we were working with on that. There's still a personalization to it, which is the awesome part. So it's not just this generic email that goes out that my mind went to initially. But it's again, it's kind of like an in between of it being this automation where it is something that, in what we're using it for, yes, multiple people are getting the same video, but what they're getting is they're hearing from that salesperson, they're hearing from our executive director, they're hearing from our team who are speaking to them directly, because a lot of times we're still having that same conversation over and over and over again with our prospects. So it is personalized, but it's still automated. So it's a really neat combination of both.
hmm
And Matt,
Have
and
you,
can I ask another question
yeah,
real quick?
go for it,
Sorry about
Ryan. Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And Matt, you can probably speak to this. I know you can speak to this way better than I can. But one of the other things that we found when we started talking to different communities about automation is some communities just have higher churn of employees in these positions, right? So then you lose somebody who's doing that personal outreach. And one of the benefits that we wanted to drive was, hey, even during those times when you might be recruiting somebody to come in and fill that role, you can still send out those videos from your executive director or an overview video of the community and still give them that insight without that role being there. And I don't know if that's something you all have faced or not, but it's another piece that we've heard.
Yeah, it is, and that's been something that's been fantastic as well. Since we've rolled out the automation, I've had to make some changes and we've had to redo some things because of turnover. But the great part is that, again, I just most recently I had an example where we had a vacant sales position. But the ED was doing what they do and still trying to help out and fill in. I was filling in as well. So we were very quickly, between myself and that ED, create new automation videos, and I could easily go in and update our database and trigger those videos to be sent. I knew that we were still nurturing those leads that were coming in. We were still nurturing that database without having to have that seat filled. And we were still making those connections. And it was something where myself and the ED took 5 minutes out of our day one day, created these new videos, and that has saved us so much more time along that process where we can still, nurture these leads as they're coming through, still have that personal connection with them, even having that seat open. And it just made that process a little bit easier for the team on site, myself, and those processes as well.
Two follow-up questions from that, Matt. One, talk to me about what types of videos are in your automation right now. I'm sure some people on this call are wondering, where do I even start? What are going to be the most, impactful videos and the ones that we use most often? So let's answer that one first.
Sure. So we started, as we initially rolled this out, we wanted to test it first. So I started with my sales team only, and we did an automated video for any new inquiries that came in. So the one trigger was whenever we triggered a new inquiry in the system, a video went out. So that was the first that we did. Second was for as a new tour was scheduled, we had another video that came out. So those are the first two we started with. We ran that for about 2 weeks. Then we started our third, which was having the executive director create a video, which was for when a tour was completed. So initially it was just the salesperson. So salesperson had new inquiry when a new tour was scheduled. And then we had a video that was created by our executive director for a post-tour video that was sent out as well. So that's where we started. And we're in the process right now of a fourth, which we're actually having members of our executive leadership team from each of our communities, from our corporate office as well, who are creating videos for new move-ins. So once a new move-in occurs, kind of that post move-in, rolling out that red carpet, ensuring that we're delivering excellent customer service process as well. So now we're having our executive vice president of operations, the owner of our company is getting involved as well. So we're creating additional videos now for that post move-in process.
That's great. Once you actually get the videos, how long does it actually take to set up the automation? I'm sure some people might be thinking this is going to be so long. So talk to me about that.
It's longer to create the video than it is to set up the automation.
Okay. All right.
I was pleasantly surprised. I am not the most tech savvy person. I will admit that. I like to fake my way through it sometimes, but I have a tendency to break things. This is unbreakable. It was great. So it really was. And we created videos that were about a minute long for our pre-tour and post-tour, about a minute-ish. And it honestly takes more time to create those videos than it does to set up the automation. The automation process in OneDay was extraordinarily simple, which made me very happy.
Absolutely. It's hard to determine, exactly how automation has made your team more efficient, how many hours they've gotten back in their day. But can you talk to us a little bit about that and just things that they've been able to do since this has been set up?
Yeah. So one of the great things, again, I haven't really measured time, but we talked about, and I've looked at some conversion ratios and how that's changed. But one of the greatest things I've heard from my team is that, sometimes we just forget certain things in our day because just life happens, right? So what the feedback I got from them is they're excited about the fact that they know when that new inquiry comes in, when they register that new inquiry that comes in, they're confident to know that, that video is being sent. So that person is going to be hearing from them directly. They know that when they do reach out to that lead and connect with them on the phone for the first time, or they come in, they already know their voice. They already know what they look like. They've already made that connection with them. So they're feeling much more secure about the fact that even before they've picked up that phone and made that connection, or even before they've come in for the tour, they're more confident that when that person comes into the building, they already know what they look like. So they know who to look for. So they're not forgetting oh man, I forgot to tell that person that when they get to our community, this is where they have to park. They put that in their video so they know where to go. They know that process. They don't have to worry about who do I ask for at the front desk. Like all that's already there. It's given that peace of mind to know that they've done their part. automatically with these videos that they've kind of started that process of rolling out that red carpet to deliver that good customer service without having to worry about it when they've gotten distracted by another new inquiry that came in, or an appointment with somebody, or they were out sick for the day, whatever it might be.
Yeah. And that kind of ties into, yes, these aren't one-to-one videos that are being created, but they're still creating personal connections because, as you said, those prospects already know what their sales counselor looks like when they walk through the doors. Is there anything else that you would add about how your team is balancing, the need for personalized videos and automation? You're obviously not replacing, you're using both, but anything else you'd add about that?
Yeah, absolutely. This is definitely not a replacement. It's just been an addition to. And like I said, I think this actually has encouraged my teams as well to create more personalized videos as they're following up. Because we've already gotten feedback from people as they've come in, and especially when they've received those pre and post tours. And again, we've got a couple communities where it's a little confusing on how to get to the front door, right? Something as simple as that. They heard that feedback and they know people are listening, and being able to look at the views and how many times people have clicked on it and read through it and heard the video and watched the video has encouraged them more, because they're seeing that people are watching and they are listening to what they're saying. So it's encouraged them to make more personalized videos along the way as well.
Definitely. Well, two more questions for you, Matt, and then I'm going to turn it over to the audience to see if they have any questions for you. This was one concern that I brought up at the beginning as we were talking about this problem. Some people are concerned that there's going to be too many emails going to people now that we have the automation. We already have current marketing outreach. So how does automation fit in with your current marketing outreach?
Yep. So I have not found it to be, and we've not gotten any feedback from anybody, because it is a one-time trigger, right? So it's the way we have it set up, and with the automation, it's only when a new inquiry is generated that this video gets sent out. It's at one time. Only when that tour is scheduled, that one time that video goes. Only when it's after that tour. So it's not been anything that's been overwhelming, because it's not that consistent, right? So it's not like you go on a website, you put your email address in to sign up for something, all of a sudden you're getting bombarded with all these emails daily. It's only been those additional. And again, it's not anything that's been something where our teams, if we've scheduled a tour, we're always going to confirm, we're always going to reach back out to confirm that tour. So again, we're always going to do a 24-hour post-tour call with our EDs. We're always going to follow up after the tour. So it's not been an addition to, it's been supplementing what our process already is. But again, we're supplementing it with that ability to be face to face with them and hear that connection and build that rapport. So it's definitely, I have not heard any feedback from anyone on my team, from any of our prospects we've worked with, that it's been overwhelming or it's been annoying, or been something that has been a deterrent in any way. I think because, again, as we've gone through these videos, it's we're not saying, hey, Ryan, this video is for you, but no one would ever know that otherwise with the way these videos are done, right? It's because everything that we're talking about would be a conversation we would have anyway. So it's really been something where I don't think anyone would realize it's spam, because it's not spam.
Yeah. Very encouraging, all of that. Real quick, let's just talk about a few quick successes that you've seen so far. I'll turn it over to the audience, and then we'll dive a little bit deeper into what we're seeing from Matt's team right now. So Matt, you had shared this with me last week that Health Dimensions Group has seen a 9% increase in the inquiry to tour conversions and an 11% increase in tour to move-in conversions in the last 45 days or so. Now you said you can't account for all of that being from automation, but since being implemented, numbers have grown. So what was your reaction after seeing those numbers?
I was thrilled. Anytime our conversion ratios go up, I'm happy, right?
Yes.
So it's been exciting. It's been really exciting, because it's one of those things where I think with, when I had first talked to my teams about this automation feature, they were like, "Yay!" There wasn't as much excitement as there was with me, but when there's proof behind it, and I am a self-admitted data nerd. I love numbers, and I love seeing, especially as we're trying new things, what those results are. So to be able to go back and go to my teams and say, "Hey, look, this is what we've done. These are the numbers," and they're still not nearly as excited as I am about it, but there's definitely a higher level of excitement. And I think they're seeing that it's again, where it's something that it's taking a little bit of that work off of their plate. It's taking a little bit of that worry off of their minds. It's taking a little bit of that process out where it's making it a little bit easier for them. And it's again, it's just it's giving them peace of mind to know that even if they forget or whatever it might be, it's still going to happen for them. So it's been exciting. Again, like like you said, I can't 100% contribute to the automation feature, but to see those numbers increase has been great, and just to see the teams get more excited about it, and wanting to also utilize, what other options can we have for automation, and how else can we do it? What else can I do to make my job easier? Just to have that kind of feedback has been awesome.
That's so cool. And it's going back to the original problem of, everybody's being taken care of, prospect and sales rep as well. Everybody wins. It's great. Okay, a couple questions from the audience. Matt, what CRM are you using right now for automation?
We use Welcome Home as our
Welcome home.
CRM.
All right, great. And then Tracy asking about, once we set up a tour, we would send them a video. We would send them a video and after the tour. Yes. So once a tour is set up, your prospect would get some sort of pre-tour video. And then after they move into, post-tour, they would also get a video highlighting that as well, if that's the route that you wanted to go, Tracy. So yeah, absolutely. If you have more questions for Matt, you can certainly put those into chat, but I do want to keep moving along here just so we have enough time for Kimmy's demo here. So diving a little bit deeper into Matt's team's latest numbers, since your team started using automation about the end of January or so up till now, this is what we're seeing. Total recipients, 786. 373 email deliveries went out, and then 375 SMS text deliveries. Diving a little bit deeper into those numbers, of those 373 emails that were delivered, 254 of those emails were opened, translating to about a 68% open rate. I want to say that again. 68% open rate. It's phenomenal. Just to kind of give you all a picture, the traditional open rate for a typical marketing campaign is about 21% right now. Obviously, Health Dimensions Group is well over that with that 68% open rate. So I really wanted to highlight that. And then 786 recipients, again, total. Of that, there's 284 video plays, translating to about a 36% open rate. Obviously, lower than that open rate, but still very good for just starting out with automation. So if you have any questions on those numbers, again, put those into chat. But Matt, your team is doing a great job so far. Keep up the great work. And again, thanks so much for being here today. Do you want to add anything else, Ryan? Any additional questions that you want to ask Matt before we turn it over to Kimmy?
I mean, you can't do much better than he's already done. So
right.
more questions for Matt. So I appreciate it.
Awesome. Okay. Well, Kimmy, you are up. Kimmy's going to take us through a demo of how OneDay automation works. As always, keep those questions coming in chat. I'm going to stop the share here and turn it over to you, Kimmy.
Shared. Okay. Everyone able to see my screen? Okay, perfect. All right, hopping right in. So this demo is strictly about how simple it is to set up an automation rule. So here we're in our OneDay dashboard. We'll navigate over to our admin portal in which we're housing our automation. So here, give it a second to load. You'll already notice that we have a stage set up. So Katie has already set up an inquiry. So this is something that is already running, but today we'll be setting up a second stage. So within this, you'll be able to set up to a max of 5 stages. So here you'll see those other 4 stages available. We're also leveraging a welcome home integration, our sandbox. So it gives you an idea of what those other stages look like that we're pulling in. So what you'll notice is an apples to apples kind of feel to it. So you'll see the stages match when you're looking at your CRM back over to our OneDay platform. So you get a consistent feel at the end of the day. So for this one, we'll be selecting the pre-tour stage. So here we'll go ahead and make a selection of which video we are going to pull in and have attached to this particular stage. For this one, we'll use the second video here, and we'll have like a a couple of items that the user can go ahead and set up. So a reply to email, maybe there's a marketing or sales email that you would like to have all those replies go to. You'll be able to have that set up right there. A quick little subject line. This one, I'm just gonna throw in a couple of candid items here as we set this up. So we'll say, can't wait to see you. Of course, you can always personalize this however you might want to for the sake of time. We'll say, can't wait to see you soon. And here we give you the final option of setting up a call to action. So if that is something that makes sense in this particular stage, maybe you're trying to get them to move forward in the process, you'll be able to quickly set it up. So here we'll just set up learn more and it'll route us to the OneDay website. So with that, we have all of our information entered. We'll hit save. So this is creating the role in the background in which any prospect that lands in that stage of pre-tour will receive this particular video. And that literally took me, 30 seconds to a minute to set up. So very, very simple to have set up in a matter of seconds. And with that, anything else around this will capture, the normal metrics of deliveries, opens, plays, those kind of things that we just went through with Katie. But otherwise, it's that simple, guys. For that, I'll kind of open it up to the rest of the team and any questions.
Kimmy, would you be able to show what it looks like, kind of the end product once it hits somebody's inbox? What does it look like?
Of course. So here, I have one already kind of set up. Template will, or not template, the thumbnail will be whatever selected template or thumbnail you have selected for that video. I did not choose the best one, not gonna lie, but you'll see that thumbnail appear with the ability to quickly hit play and go and view that video. But otherwise, your messaging and your CTA are here in that email. So very clean cut and to the point for any recipient to take the next step or view that video.
We're getting a few questions about just different integrations. In just a couple of minutes, Ryan's going to cover all of the current partnership integrations that we have. But of course, we always welcome questions on other integrations. And who knows, down the road, yes, maybe we'll integrate with the one that you want. Doesn't hurt to ask. Jay, you want details on what is needed for automation exactly. Yeah, you can we can certainly email that information over to you if you already have a dedicated CSM and you feel like this is something you're really interested in. Reach out to them. They'll help you get one or two videos set up as well. If you don't have a dedicated CSM, let us know. You do. Awesome. Okay, great, Jay. Well, if you have any other questions on what Kimmy just went over, please put those into chat. But for now, I'm going to turn it over to Ryan to talk a little bit more about why OneDay automation specifically. So let me get my screen shared again. And Ryan, you can take it away.
Yeah, and this is gonna be easy because, as I said, Matt's covered most of it already. So it makes my life way easier. So as we've talked about, right, there's many, and I'll go through the list in a second. There's many CRM integrations that we've worked on in the past several years, most focused on the senior living industry, but we have some outside. We've been very focused on partnering with the biggest organizations to try to cover everybody. So, and as Matt spoke about, right, it was all designed to make it very simple. We didn't want to create automation that then forced users or organizations to still come into the OneDay platform to automate the rules, right? It should be done directly in your system of record, which is your CRM. So all the rules-based triggers and things like that are sent directly from there. As Matt talked about, videos are very customized to the communities. So we want to make sure that they resonate for each stage of the sales cycle for that community. We don't want to send out one big, large organization video that everybody receives. Very customized to the communities that these individuals are considering moving into. Multi-channel delivery, as we all know, people don't read email as much as they used to. They prefer text messages or whatever it is. So if you have an email and text message or multiple contact methods for that contact, and even other recipients, right? If they have a child or somebody who may be helping them move into a community, all of those contact messages is where that gets sent to. So it's not just one or the other. So it makes sure that it gets front and center, which speaks to the open rates and the play rates that Katie was just going through, right? Again, different people have different perspectives and want to be communicated through different ways. So we don't want to limit it to just email or only text message. And then flexible rule setting, as Kimmy was just showing. So I know she only showed 2 examples, but you can create up to 5 rules. So if you want an initial touch point and a pre-tour video and a post-tour video and a pre-move-in video, whatever it might be, you can set it up for all of those individual touch points. Some organizations, again, you all know this, based on your sales approach and processes, maybe you want to do phone calls for specific conversations in certain sales stages, or you want to do whatever and you only want video in a couple. So you have the flexibility. And again, what I would say is for each community, you don't have to use the same rules for every community. Maybe one community only wants to send a pre-tour video or only a post-tour video, but then another community within the same organization does want to send 5 videos for every touch point for whatever reason it might be. So each one of those communities can be customized and set up with their own videos, with their own messaging, and again, based on the individual sales or the individual stages that you have for those. So we try to give you as much flexibility as possible. We're absolutely always considering adding more capabilities to our automation. We have an entire roadmap of stuff that we're evaluating. But we're trying to build it the best way possible to support all of you in your communities. And then the big question, so who do we partner with? Yes, believe me, and Kimmy knows this, we've had many, many conversations with Align. It's right. We partner with several of the organizations who are part of that merger. Their roadmap, I am so glad I don't work for that company right now, because I can only imagine what they're going through as far as trying to merge those companies together. But we are absolutely in conversations with them. As soon as things open up, I'm sure they will make the space for us. Again, it's just capacity and resources. But as you can see, we partner with a lot of companies: Inquire, Knock, Yardi, Welcome Home, Salesforce, Resman, Entrata, Sherper, HubSpot. And I know there's some questions earlier about like security compliance and things like that. Again, every one of these companies require that we meet their security compliance. And as you can imagine, their security compliance requirements are much more extensive than probably other companies. So I have full faith that if your organization wants us to go through some security compliance reviews, we've done it for other organizations, we can absolutely do it for yours as well. So feel free, reach out to your current client. I'm sure you've already done it. Whatever we have in place currently shouldn't be any different. So automation shouldn't change any previous security compliance processes we had to go through. If you're not, again, reach out to us. We can help you out. So.
Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it. Let's check on chat here one more time just to see kind of where we're at. There was a question that came in. Janine Hernandez asked, are there any step-by-step instructions somewhere that people can access as far as how automation works? Kimmy, Ryan, that might be a question for you guys. So how would you answer that?
Yeah, so we've created user guides and all kinds of documentation. So if you're a current customer, absolutely, as Katie said earlier, reach out to your client success manager. We can get you a lot of information on how to do it. It's not always perfect. We try to make this as simple as possible so it doesn't take a ton of reading and guidance. But yeah, we have tons of documentation that we can send over.
Any other questions? Oh, Matt, can't hear you very well. I hope it's not just me. Okay, you can always type it in chat too if you'd like. Well, great. Anything else that y'all are wondering about regarding who we integrate with, how it works, how you can get in touch with your CSM to get this set up, please let us know. Best practices suggestions we can use on setting up our automation. Carrie is asking about that. Kimmy, Ryan, I'm going to default to you.
Go ahead, Kimmy. Come on. I know you're good at this.
Best practices suggesting we can use when setting up our automation. So, I would say if there is a particular um, stage in which you have very common, almost repetitive information that feels like it belongs in almost like a how-to or some kind of guide, that's probably a good place to start in terms of kind of best practices. What's something you're constantly bringing up, or and Matt kind of talked about this earlier, of those little details that maybe someone forgets because the day is just absolutely crazy. Those are kind of, I would say, a fail-safe best practice option there that would make sense, in inquiry or post tour. Maybe there's follow-up information that just is normal stuff of here's the next steps. I'd say those are a couple of things in terms of kind of off the cuff best practices in terms of getting the automation going. And other than that, probably A/B process. Maybe you want to try one video that works in one way, just test that out for a little bit. Maybe it didn't meet the mark. You can always switch that, or have two different communities that are trying different tactics. Again, with that A/B approach, and see what really resonates with your recipients.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. That's actually the one I was going to touch on, is just start with one. Just pick one stage in the sales cycle, touch on that, see how it's working. I would also say, just like we recommend for personalized videos in general, don't overthink it. Like, don't go in here saying, oh my God, it has to be perfect, or we have to have this, or we have to have that, right? Like, just start somewhere. I mean, the greatest thing I've learned about senior living is people are friendly and authentic, and that's really what's going to cause somebody to want to move into your community. So that's the approach I would still take. Just, hey, no, this is the stage in the sales cycle we want a video to be sent to. Obviously, think about your message, but don't overthink it. Don't spend too long on it. Don't think it has to be movie quality video, right? Like, just pick somebody, whoever's really good at it at the community, maybe have them create the video, or if you have an executive director who's really good. But yeah, don't over engineer it. We're not, movie production companies, and that's not what's expected from your recipients. So I would just keep it very simple.
Keep it
Can you hear
human,
me
keep
now?
it genuine.
Yes.
Better audio?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, and just to follow up on that point, literally the same conversation I just had with my team yesterday. We have a new salesperson who started, and I created a one-day video with them to introduce them to the team. And I think my exact words were, we're not Steven Spielberg. We're not trying to make, blockbuster movies here. And the whole idea behind this is that you want someone to know who you are and get to know you as the person, get to know your community. So it shouldn't be perfect. It shouldn't be this, over edited kind of video. You want it to be personal because they want you to know who you are. So, but yes, we started with that one step. And like I had said in the chat box, I created some example videos, for each one of my team members on what I thought, some of those important parts about their community that should be highlighted in each stage. So that was the best practice that we did, just to kind of give some inspiration. And then, it was getting kind of those unique features and those things that people get excited about their own community, and make sure that they are bringing that excitement into the video as well. But really, just I always tell my team, I'm like, if you stumble over your words, you stumble over your words. It's no different than having the conversation that we're having right now, and that's kind of how we want it to be.
Yeah, talking to somebody as you would if they were sitting right across the desk from you.
Absolutely.
Yep. Well, great. We have about 13 or so minutes left. But if some of you have to go, you're welcome to. We've kind of come towards the end right now. Just want to say thank you again so much for giving us your time today. We hope it's been beneficial for you, and we hope it sparks some interest in at least checking out automation for your team, talking to your CSM about it. That's really the next step for all of you. Reach out to your customer success manager, ask them to help you set up one, maybe two videos just to start out, so you can see what automation is and how it might work for your team. If you guys have any additional questions, sorry about that. We're gonna hang out here until about 12:30 or so. So we will be here if you need anything. As always, reach out to your CSM. You can also email us, support@oneday.com if you have any technical questions or issues. And while we're here, I do want to make a plug for our next webinar coming up in April. It's going to be April next week, talking about building confidence with video. So a little bit of a different topic, but if you're interested in that, communication will be going out for that very soon. So register for that if you'd like to learn about building confidence with video. If you don't have any more questions, thanks again for being here today, and we'll see you guys next time.